painful finger sticks. If you have Medicare or private insurance, US Med can deliver a CGM system right to your door. And if you qualify, there may be little or no cost to you. Shipping is free and will even bill your insurer directly. Call now to get your continuous glucose monitoring system so you can take control of your diabetes and get back to enjoying life.
Call 800-973-5217. That's 800-973-5217.
On air and online, News 12's First Alert Traffic Network is sponsored by Mountaineer Pest Services. Protect your home at StopMyBugs.com.
Thanks for watching News 12 on your side.
From the station that's on your side, this is News 12 First at 5.
Well, First Lady Dr. Jill Biden making a stop in Augusta today as part of her tour to highlight President Biden's economic plans and how they're creating pathways into well-paying jobs.
A high school diploma alone just isn't enough to find a great career. But that doesn't mean that there's only one pathway to success.
Just a few months ago, in May, the Biden administration named Augusta as one of 5 U.S. workforce hubs in the entire nation. Augusta Technical College, Aiken Technical College, and the Richmond County Public School System all partnering with the Augusta Workforce Hub as well. Joe Biden making a stop by Augusta Tech to meet students at a middle school summer camp for manufacturing. That's where the First Lady had the chance to see firsthand how Augusta Tech is training and teaching our next generation of workers. Augusta Tech is focusing on training students in advanced manufacturing, including construction skilled trades and battery manufacturing. This tour is to show how President Biden's Investing in America agenda is creating jobs and opportunities in Augusta and across Georgia and even the nation. Already, $5.3 billion in federal funding has already been announced for over 295 infrastructure projects across Georgia.
Through investing in America, we can bring people together and fundamentally transform what it means to make a living and make a life here in the United States of America.
And coming up tonight, all new on News 12 at 6 o'clock, we're breaking down how Augusta Tech is creating a ripple effect across the state and the entire country. Well, shifting gears to weather now, we're going to take a live look outside at Wheeler Road here. A gorgeous afternoon for us, a sunny afternoon for us, Riley, but we're still seeing that smoke hover over our area.
Yeah, well, it's actually led to a few air quality alerts across the region. Luckily, we haven't really seen too many CFs or 8 counties actually underneath the air quality alert. But if you go just a little bit further west, you can see Atlanta's dealing with some pretty unhealthy air as some of that Canadian wildfire smoke is actually making it a little bit closer towards the ground level. Now, yesterday, our air quality was green and good. Now it's a little bit more moderate, so unhealthy for very sensitive groups. If you suffer from asthma and just have trouble breathing, this may impact you some. So you may just want to limit your time outdoors. Here's the way it's looking on our vertically integrated smoke. So this is a smoke throughout the entire column of the atmosphere. We go to look at what's actually near the surface, and you can see it's a little bit less, but where those air quality alerts are in effect is where there's just a little bit higher concentrations of that smoke found closer towards the ground. As far as radar goes, we're not really seeing much rain out there. I would imagine any evening planes you have do stay completely dry. It has been hot and humid, though. We started feeling like the 90s around 10 a.m., and we just hit that heat index up to the century mark here in Augusta, here at just 5 o'clock. So pretty hot and steamy, and looking to hang on to those conditions over the next couple of days. We'll have a look at that in the full forecast, but let's get a quick update on your First Alert traffic.
And now, First Alert traffic.
All right, live view of Riverwatch Parkway, I-20. You can really see that haze outside of our studios, just looking very hot. Luckily, not really seeing a huge impact traffic-wise. Riverwatch Parkway, just the usual hustle and bustle for this time of day. Going out to Wheeler Road next. Wheeler Road, not an overly busy roadway there. It doesn't look like traffic's backed up too much. And we'll take a look at I-20 coming up in just about 30 minutes. We'll have that full forecast coming up in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Riley. The countdown to the college football season is officially on, and for the first time since the spring game, we are finally getting an idea of what's to come for the reigning champs. Kirby Smart hit the podium earlier today, and Alyssa, he went over his time. I don't think we're really surprised by that. What did he have to say?
Yeah, apparently he had an alarm clock and it just didn't go off. Well, Coach Kirby Smart has a chance to do something that no one has done since 1936, and not in the college football playoff believes he has a chance to go back to back to back. Well, that is 3. Smart has been on the verge of a three-peat before. That was back in another string of red. Alabama won it in the 2011-2012 season, and again the next year. Under Coach Nick Saban, Smart operated as a defensive coordinator on the cusp of heading back to the national championship in 2014. Bama dropped against Ohio State in the Sugar Bowl. Now back in the same position he was once before, the weight of history hasn't stooped his shoulders too much.
Offense to the Minnesota 1935 team, but I don't know if it's going to resonate with my audience. So we're going to try to, I don't care about the 3-peat, the 2-peat, or the 1-peat. I care about complacency, and if the focus is on that and outcomes, I think the rest will take care of itself in terms of allowing our guys to focus on being the best they can be.
Now, the Dogs have been on your screen for more than just winning a national championship. After celebrating on January 15th, player Devin Willock and staffer Chandler LaCroix died in a car accident. Their deaths highlighted a string of reckless driving incidents within the program. Coming up all new on News 12 at 6 o'clock, I'll have Smart's reaction to the questions of a culture problem in Athens.
Okay, thanks, Alyssa, for keeping us updated on that. Looking forward to the college football season as well. Well, more questions arise after Carly Russell was found safe after disappearing for more than 48 hours. The 25-year-old went missing in Alabama over the weekend after calling 911 and reporting a toddler walking along the interstate. A family member was on the phone with Russell as she was on the side of the interstate. They say they heard Russell scream and then silence. Her parents describing what it was like when Russell appeared at their door 2 days later.
Tried to hover as best we could, but I had to stand back because she was not in a good state. So we had to stand back and let medical professionals work with her. But
and you can see the emotion there from her mother. No children were reported missing when Russell says that she saw the child on the interstate. Investigators continue to try and piece together what exactly happened. The Justice Department may be close to indicting former President Donald Trump. This comes on the same day as a pretrial hearing for Trump's classified documents case. The former president making the announcement on social media that he was informed he was a target of the Justice Department's investigation into efforts to undo the results of the 2020 presidential election. The former president pleaded not guilty last month to 37 criminal counts, including the willful retention of national defense secrets, making false statements, and conspiracy to obstruct justice. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says the character and culture of the U.S. military has gone downhill, dragging recruitment down with it and threatening national security. But DeSantis says he's got a plan to turn that around, unveiling it today in West Columbia. Our State House reporter Mary Green was there and has the details.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says his mantra as commander-in-chief would be mission first, unveiling new policies here in West Columbia on Tuesday that he claims will boost recruitment and retention in the U.S. Armed Forces.
It's a military that has been ordered by civilian officials to pursue political ideology, to pursue social experimentation, to be yet another institution in American life that gets infected with the woke mind virus.
DeSantis, the only veteran currently running for president, outlined a 5-point plan that includes reinstating armed service members who lost their jobs because of the COVID-19 vaccine mandate and rejuvenating military recruitment. DeSantis also vowed to restore military standards he claims have slipped because of political and social motivations, and to eliminate what he describes as a woke agenda that promotes ideals like diversity, equity, and inclusion in the military. The Florida governor chose to roll out this policy in a state that's home to 8 major military installations and about 400,000 veterans. One retired Marine from Columbia says he's still deciding who he's backing for president, but called DeSantis' plan spot on.
It's a shame that right now the recruiting numbers are at an extreme low, and they're wondering how can we bring that back. Well, policies need to change before the recruiting numbers will come back up. And if those policies change, they will see those numbers go back up. So it's important that we have someone in the White House that's willing to listen to what our military needs.
Before the news conference, DeSantis became the first candidate to officially file to run in South Carolina's Republican presidential primary on February 24th. That date gives candidates more time to campaign here before voters head to the polls. And DeSantis said on Tuesday that South Carolinians should expect to see a lot of him here in February. Reporting West Columbia, I'm Mary Green.
Thanks, Mary. Meanwhile, the South Carolina Democratic Party accused DeSantis of attacking the military while spewing extreme rhetoric and stoking culture wars. A spokesperson for the SCDP writes in part, "It's time for DeSantis to wake up and smell the roses. No amount of bait for the MAGA base is going to change the fact that he's not ready for the campaign trail, much less the Oval Office." A police officer is hurt after a shooting near Riverbank Zoo in Columbia, South Carolina. This all happening at around noon today. The officer is expected to be all right after responding to the area of Greystone Boulevard for reports of shots fired. The department says the suspect who was also shot is a gang member who is on probation and is not allowed to have a firearm. No word yet on what led up to this shooting. The small town of Hampton is mourning the lives of 4 people killed in a mass shooting over the weekend. Hampton police say 40-year-old Andre Longmore shot and killed his neighbors. The victims' families were all present and in tears as they each lit a candle in honor of their loved one, the suspect killed in a police shootout. The mayor delivering a direct message to all of the victims' families today.
We will never forget their names. We will never forget the contributions that they've made. They are etched in the history of Hampton, and we love them.
40-year-old Andre Longmore, the man police say is responsible, was killed in a police shootout on Sunday. Well, 2 engaged Georgia volunteer firefighters are now fighting for their lives after their fire truck overturned while responding to an accident. The couple are set to get married this October. Now they are both severely injured, and one is in a medically induced coma after their weekend crash in Thomaston, Georgia. Both were thrown from the truck and it rolled over several times. The bride-to-be joined the volunteer fire department less than 1 month ago.
I think it's important that everybody remember these people were injured trying to serve our community, and they were doing that for just the goodness of service. There's no compensation in being a volunteer firefighter.
Both are still in the hospital this evening undergoing more testing. A suspected burglar taking something infinitely more precious than money from a restaurant safe. What happened? Coming up after the break. Riley?
Well, the Green Jackets are back in town this week, and it'll be hot there along the river for first pitch at 7:05, but luckily, mostly dry. We'll have a look at some better rain chances over the next few days just after the break.
Neighbors are upset about this piece of land off of South Bel Air Road. Find out why they're upset coming up all new on News 12 at 6 o'clock. Specialist for your free estimate.
Candy can fix it.
Welcome back, folks. Here's a live look at our southbound smokehouse camera. We got the Fredericksburg Nationals getting some BP and some warm-up in. They got the first pitch at SRP Park, 7:05. And look at just some of that smoke across the area. You can see it's still an issue for most of the eastern U.S. Luckily, this should be improving over the next couple of days, and we don't have a ton of air quality alerts in effect for the CSRA, but around the CSRA, we are looking at a little bit lower air quality. Columbia to Augusta, moderate levels there, and then a little bit worse around Atlanta, Athens, and across a portion of the upstate and North Georgia, to where there's just a little bit higher concentrations of that smoke near the surface. But for us here locally, we do look to stay mostly dry tonight. If you are heading out to SRP Park, around first pitch, we should still be in the mid to low 90s, believe it or not. So a hot start to the game. By that 7th, 8th, 9th inning, we should be falling into the 80s and staying mostly dry once again as we head into late tonight. As we roll into our Wednesday and Thursday, though, we are going to bring back a little bit better opportunity to see a few showers and thunderstorms. You can see a current look at our radar network. Not much happening out there this afternoon. That should continue to be the case. But this complex of severe weather moving across central Tennessee, that's going to continue dropping towards the south and east, and that could eventually maybe bring us a stray shower thunderstorm starting late tonight or early tomorrow. So we're just going to gradually watch that complex. Honestly, folks, by the time it reaches us, it's going to be losing its legs, so just not expecting to really hold together too well, but it could be just enough to, as we head into early Wednesday morning, some of that could still linger in the way of just a few spotty showers, possibly a thunderstorm. Now, if this is the case to where we just see that early morning cloud cover and rain push through early tomorrow morning, last through around early afternoon, maybe a struggle to make it into the mid-90s. So there is that potential for the temperature forecast to bust heading into our Wednesday afternoon. For our Thursday, there's actually a low and severe weather threat for some stronger storms Thursday afternoon. This is going to be thanks to a complex riding through the Midlands and central Georgia. You can see our in-house model here kind of splitting the CS array with these storm chances Thursday, but potentially could impact us. So we're going to have to monitor that risk. Here's our rain chances. So for tomorrow, really seeing those rain chances possibly even before lunchtime, just kind of depending on when that complex does reach us. And then again on Thursday, kind of around early afternoon into the early evening hours is when those storm chances will be with us. Rolling into the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, we'll have that opportunity for more of those summer afternoon storms, but likely not an all weekend washout by any means. But we are going to have to monitor that risk for just slow moving thunderstorms. We know what this does to our area, creates just that low-end marginal flood risk. So if you flood it easily, just a heads up, those heavier downpours can create those issues. Now, the severe weather outlook, I mentioned this for Thursday. So right now, north of us, there is a slight risk across the PD and kind of coastal plain of North Carolina. For us here in the river region, we're currently in a marginal risk. So 1 out of 5, not expecting a lot of severe weather, but it's summertime. So any storm that pops up could briefly turn severe. Those high temperatures remaining in the mid to upper 90s through Friday, and then luckily a little bit cooler rolling into the weekend.
All right, thanks, Riley. A weekend burglary taking something much more valuable than money. The Old Bull and Bush is a pub and eatery in Horry County. Bobby Turney, an employee and friend there, died in April. His ashes were being held in the pub's safe until a shadow box could be made. Those ashes were there for safekeeping. They're now missing, and a string of businesses all reporting burglaries from over the weekend.
Took things that were very irreplaceable. This had never happened to us before. It's really disheartening to learn about this, especially since we worked so hard to create a safe place for our local community to gather, and to see somebody do something like this is really disheartening.
Horry County deputies are still searching for the suspect in this case and looking into whether they're responsible for all of these recent break-ins. In the meantime, the restaurant is pleading with whoever stole those ashes to safely return them. Just into our newsroom, a federal judge says a December trial date for former President Donald Trump's classified documents case is too soon. Trump faces more than 30 charges for allegedly keeping classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago estate. In the last week, Trump had requested the trial be pushed back. This comes on the heels of Trump announcing of a possible third arrest since he's left office. That case is in connection to his role in the January 6th attack at the Capitol. We'll keep you updated as more information on both of these cases becomes available. A historic church catching on fire with its pastor still inside. We'll break down what happened coming up after the break. Stick with us.
First Alert Radar.
Toyota, let's go places.
A lightning strike causing a historic church to collapse. This all happening yesterday in Savannah, Georgia. The pastor inside the church when the massive fire began. Lindsay Stanger spoke with him today on what happened next.
It's not the news you want to hear.
They banged on the door and said the church was smoking and it was on fire. Next thing I know, the church was on fire.
Especially hours before you're expected to put on a beloved community event, Vacation Bible School. Pastor Tyrone Edwards of Central Missionary Baptist Church was inside the church when the fire broke out.
It boomed a couple of times, but I've never thought that it hit the church.
The flames ripped through the sanctuary and the roof, destroying this church's history.
I know that he has us in this situation, but two, it's a lot of history that is that we gotta see if we can salvage and make come back to life.
According to the pastor, this church has sat in the historic district for over 120 years, and in just a matter of hours, the fire made a quick mark on the church. Savannah Fire Department responded and worked to save what they could of the side of the church, but it sustained too much damage and ultimately collapsed.
We're trying to extinguish the fire. We did have partial collapse on the front of the building where the eaves fell out onto the floor, and that's the brick debris that you see in the roadway, and that probably did cause some shifting of the roof also.
One was hurt in the building, and it is still being assessed just how much damage was done.
And again, nobody was injured, but the 120-year-old church's future is now in limbo. In Savannah, 2 suspects accused of murdering a British tourist have taken plea deals. Investigators say 29-year-old Georgia May Lawrence and 43-year-old Corey Kent killed Benjamin Tucker last April. Police say Tucker was visiting Savannah when he was shot. The motive is still unclear, but investigators say the shooting was not random. Lawrence's deal got her life in prison with parole, and Kent will serve 20 years. This case garnered international attention, Tucker was remembered overseas as an avid
Over the next couple of days, so you will need your sunshade, and we got a latest winner for you. Congratulations to Terry Lamb from Augusta. To get your own Plunkett heating and air sunshade, just go to wrdw.com, click on contests, and enter your email right there. Now look at that hot forecast for you coming up just after the break.
You can check us out online at myroofsavers.com.
Well, another smoky and hot afternoon for us here across the CSRA. A couple of different views from our tower cams. This one from our Wheeler Road tower there, and then also in Beach Island. You can see that haze from the Beach Island cam is very impressive again today. We technically don't have any air quality alerts in effect for us here in Augusta proper, but all around the two-state, across Metro Atlanta, Metro Columbia, and this does include Saluda and McCormick County, there is an air quality alert that will stay in effect for the rest of tonight and through early tomorrow morning. So this is mainly a concern for people that just suffer from respiratory issues, asthma. If you don't breathe very well, this can definitely impact you. Right now here in Augusta, we're looking at a yellow, same thing in Columbia, green Charleston, but you can see it does get much worse towards Atlanta to where they are in a code orange air quality alert for the rest of tonight and early tomorrow. Good news is the smoke should gradually improve as our upper level pattern does change the next couple of days. Staying hot though, and we're going to have a little bit better opportunity for those storms over the next couple of days. Stick with us. We're going to have much more coming up on Live at 5.
Investigate